Hi, gorgeous soul, and welcome to our Soul Light Conversation number 59. If this is one of the first times or even your first time to tune in to one of my Soul Light Conversations, hi, I'm Annika. I'm a witch, I'm a Soul Light healer, a Soul Light artist, a spiritual midwife. I help other souls who go through the birthing process to their soul-led life, to come through the other end and to actually stay committed to that soul-led life. And that's part of the conversation today. So today, when I tuned in and I connected myself with Source and I cleared the channel and I was like, okay, what is mine to share today? What is the conversation that needs to be had? Hi, Melissa Rose. So what is the conversation that needs to be had? And what came through was I need to share a story with you, or I needed to share an experience we just had in the last month. And I also needed to talk a little bit about that sorry, sip of my cocoa before I continue. I need to share about the fine line between courage and crazy and how they're one and the same. They're like two sides of a way of being. And so if you are living soul-led, if you're letting your soul lead, if your soul tells you what needs to be done and you go after that, no matter what, like if everything around you in your circumstances is showing you that it's not possible, and you still know in your being, in every fiber of your being, that this is what's true for you, this is what needs to be done, or where you need to go, or what you need to do, then all the evidence around you that says it can't be done or it's impossible just falls away, because like, no, this is where I'm heading. This is what needs to happen. I know I have to be there. I know I have to do this. And then even when fear, when doubt, when whatever comes up and you have that knowing, that's when the impossible becomes possible. So to give you a little bit of context, I have to go back over half a year from today, so we can talk about this, because the thing is, we do, like when we live a sort of life, when we do things that seem impossible from the outside, and it works out, we're courageous, we have so much courage, and like we're inspiring, and whatever it is that people say, they're like, oh my god, I wish I had so much courage, or like, I wish I was as spontaneous as you, or whatever. And then if it doesn't work out, people look at us and they go like, you're crazy, you're batshit crazy. And there are people, even when it works out, they go like, you're batshit crazy. You see how this like crazy courage spectrum isn't a spectrum at all. It's one and the same thing. You do one and the same thing, and it's just two sides of, like, you know, crazy or stupid or whatever you want to call it. And the other side is courageous and brave and inspiring. It's one of the words. So to put that a little bit into context, because I know I learn best through stories, to hearing other people's experiences. And so we received a bit of backlash in the last month. We being me and my husband, or now the guy I'm dating, but that's a whole other story that I will tell you at some point. So, but when we came back from Bali last month, at the beginning of December, the second week of December, we drove down into Bavaria, which is a 4.5 hour drive with the car, dropped our 3 children at my aunt's house, who is a childminder, and she offered to take them for this week. And then we dropped them there, we drove to the airport, we flew from Munich to Bali. It was like, I got really good flights, so it was like 24 hours or something like that, travel time. But we had to sleep at Munich at the airport for a night. We arrived there, we did a relationship recreation retreat, which I come to in a moment. Then we flew back and took the train to pick up the children, and then did an 11-hour train ride with 3 little children and our luggage to get back home. Now, why that train ride? Why that train ride? Because we didn't have the money to rent a car to pick them up and go back home. Here's the longer story. Because when people only see that, they go like, you're crazy. Why would you do such things? Why would you bring yourself into such a position? This is words we heard from my aunt. This is what we heard from my dad. This is what we heard from Dennis' mom. This is especially what we heard from Dennis' sister. There was like so much pushback and so much like, I don't understand what you were thinking. Now, to get the context, at least a little bit, I know you're never in my shoes, right? And I'm never in yours. You know best what is true for you. But when we go back into May and June this year, we were in a very different place. Dennis and me had been slipping in and out of a really unhealthy pattern of codependency and very conditional love. And I couldn't spot what was going on. And at that time, he had just left Ireland, so I stayed behind in Ireland with 3 children. He left Ireland to come to Germany to follow his soul-led guidance, to get a job there and see where it was going. I didn't know if I would follow him at that point. At that point, I only knew I don't want to be in Germany. I don't have to be in Germany. This is not like what is true for my soul. But if it's true for your soul, and if that is your path, you have to go. So we decided together that he would go to Germany and I would stay behind with the children, and we will figure it out somehow. That in itself is already, for some crazy, for some completely courageous and brave and inspiring, right? So here is already the coin of batshit crazy, courageous. But in that space, I didn't know if I ever wanted to live with him again. I knew I loved him very deeply, but also I needed my own space. And so at that time, because even with the distance between us, whenever we would talk, whenever we would connect, we would slip back in the same pattern and I couldn't spot it. If you're in it, you can't spot it. Or the beautiful Joanna Hunter says, you can't see your own arse. So even the best mindset coaches, even the best lifestyle coaches, even the best psychic mediums, whatever, they can't see their own arse, and sometimes they need help, support from somebody else who will describe their arse to them. And that's what I searched for. I was in a space where I was like, please, source, God, universe, send me somebody, send me something where I can, where somebody else can see my arse and tell me what is going on, because I have no fucking clue what is going on in my marriage. I have never questioned my marriage. We had always a magical connection, Dennis and me, and suddenly that was gone. I'm like, there was a lot of love, but being together, living together was a very, very difficult space. I'm like, I can't do this any longer. I'm not doing this any longer. And in that moment, 2 or 3 days after I prayed, I was on my knees, I was crying, I was like, I really can't spot it and I need help spotting it. A coach who I admire greatly and who has done tremendous work already in this world, Kate Marie O'Brien. She popped up a relationship recreation retreat, and I read these words and I'm like, Dennis and me have recreated our relationship over and over again. I mean, we're together for almost 11 years. We're almost 10 years married now. Or not married any longer. But on paper, we're almost 10 years married. And so in these 10 years, we have recreated our relationship. We have seen each other grow and evolve and like get to know each other many, many times because we changed so much, both of us. But this time we couldn't find a solution for it. And so I read these words and I'm like, oh my God, I trust Kate. She was like, me and my partner Renate are doing this. And I looked at their relationship. I looked at like, they're both creatives like Dennis and me. It's different when one is the workhorse and one is the creative. But like with two creators in the house, it can get really, really, really difficult. So I'm like, okay, we have to be there. I know I have to be there with you. And here comes in what I admire and adore and really, really appreciate about my man. And that is his unwavering trust, his like absolute trust that when I receive this like visions, this soul guidance, this like this in my bones, in my whole being, I vibrate this is what needs to be done. Then there is no question. He was like, okay, can we do this financially somehow? And I'm like, yes, we can do this. We will do this. I didn't know there was a move to Germany coming for me and the kids. I didn't know shit. I didn't know anything that the year had in store for us. I just knew in my bones, in every single cell of my being, that me and Dennis had to be there to recreate our relationship to each other. That was the only knowing I had, and I knew this was the answer to my prayers. I'm like, okay. Fast forward. We were already paying for the retreat since June. And then all the other stuff happened last year, like the move and the being stuck in the basement at my father-in-law's place, and Dennis not finding a job for 4.5 months, and all the things that happened. And through that time, I was able to stay present and alive and was able to find gratitude and work my way through. There were many triggers who triggered deep healing. Like more layers were shed, and I changed and I changed and I changed. And then suddenly the retreat was here. And my dad, who I originally thought would take our children for the week, said he couldn't 2 months beforehand. And I'm like, fuck, what do I do now? Okay, fine. Like, if we don't go to the retreat, we will be fine. But I know I need to be there, so maybe Dennis stays home with the kids and I go alone, or I don't know, a solution will come. And like on a day, not even a day, 24 hours later, this is the synchronicities happening again, right? 24 hours later, my aunt says to me, look, like your father has told me about your situation, that's his sister, and I'm happy to take your 3 smallies. I'm happy to take them. I have kids in my house every single day. It won't make much of a difference, to be honest. So just like, do you want to come and visit us? And we did. So that was sorted suddenly. Like the universe was like, no, you're going. You need to go. This is important. And then we had to pay double deposit. There were a lot of things financially on our plate while I wasn't fit enough working. I'm like, I didn't find the motivation to work. I wasn't in overflow. And because I always say you can't give from lack, like it needs to overflow. Whatever overflows onto the saucer, that is what you give. That is what you give. Not like pouring out of your own cup and then you're empty. I have done the whole overworking ending in burnout too many times that I would do that. And so when I found myself on the floor, not being able to like walk 10 minutes without resting twice, I was like, okay, I like halt, stop, I can't. So there was no money coming in over my business. And so it got really like this close to us not going. So close, in fact, that like we decided to take a loan out, but without a financial history, because we have spent the last 8 years outside of Germany, outside of the country. Nobody, like we didn't have a financial history, and no one would lend us money. No one would give us money. There was like no way. And so we figured out a way, like after, of course, speaking with the family members that were available, and everybody said like every door closed and in our faces. And I'm like, okay, maybe we don't, like maybe we can't go. And then we got a yes for a loan. But the loan hadn't come through when it was time to leave for Bali. So what I did, and here is the thing again, crazy courage. I pulled together all the savings, like all from, like I borrowed money from my kids, I borrowed money from like my business tax and profit account. Like I pulled everything together, all our finances together, and all the money we had together was enough to get us the flight to Bali. I was like, okay, the loan is gonna go through, or something else is gonna happen that we can purchase flights back, but we're going. And so I found beautiful flights for the money we had. I even was able to pay for a hotel at the airport because I found a really great deal. It was like the universe sending me all these beautiful cheap flights and beautiful deals. And so on the Friday before we left on Saturday morning. On the Friday I booked the flights and the hotel to get there. I was like, we're gonna get there, the retreat is paid, and from there we're gonna figure it out. Yeah, I know. This is the background story here. And look, the two sides of courage and crazy, right? So many people now, and I'm aware of this, but think like, this is crazy. How can you spend all your money that you have, like every cent that you have saved up for this? Well, I'll tell you, this is my priority. I knew in my bones that this needed to happen. I knew that this was my priority. I'm like, I don't care if I have no clothes in my wardrobe for the next half year or whatever. If I don't have a man by my side that I love, just because we can't figure out which shitty pattern is running in the background and we need help and we don't get it because of money, it's not like that. That's crazy to me. This was top priority for a stable home for my children, for my sanity, because honestly, I want to have him in my life. I don't want another man, I want this man. I love this man so much. And I don't know much about who he is right now in this shifting phase and this transition he went through since our daughter was born, because we didn't have much time to actually explore that together. But I don't want, no. It's not an option. It's not an option. And so this was my top priority. And so we got there. We made it. We made it to the villa. My visa didn't work, so I couldn't even pay the taxi driver. I had to borrow money so I could, and then PayPal it back, because I couldn't get money in Bali. But it didn't matter because we made it to the retreat. And the Bali, it wasn't this week in Bali, it wasn't about Bali. It could have been in Iceland or in like, I don't know, Sweden in the middle of winter, and I would have been cold, but I would have been happy because I needed to be there to lift my relationship and my way of relating up to the level that I want to live my life at. At this, like, there is a different kind of level when you are fully alive and you go all in. And I need a partner who can match that. Otherwise, I don't want a partner. And that's the point. And so we made it there. We made it there, and you know what happened? The loan fell through. The loan fell through, and we were sitting there and we were like, fuck. But what can we do right now? We can't do anything. We can't do anything because we're here to work this out. And this week is the only chance we get right now. In the last 6 years, we didn't have more than 24 hours, just the two of us. So this week was super important for our relationship to redefine it, to recreate it. And do you know what? The day before the retreat ended and we needed to head home to pick up our children, child benefit came through 3 days earlier than it was announced. 3 days earlier than it was announced, and it came through, and honestly, it wouldn't have been enough for flights back. I checked for the last half year, I checked flights, and I have never found flights that I would have been able to book for the two of us to get us home, to get us from Bali to Germany for that price. But when that money came through, I checked, and there was a last minute deal, and I was able to purchase flights. Like, it was like we needed to head from the retreat when it was finished directly to the airport. And we had a travel time of like 21 hours or something like that. Well, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful connection. It was 2 flights, just one stop over Thai Airlines in Bangkok, like a 5-hour stop, and then it continued. And like, for that price, I was awestruck. I was like, I saw that flight and I was like, oh my God, fucking thank you, universe. Thank you for like always having my back. And I purchased those flights, and I couldn't because they didn't take PayPal. And you know what? In the moment I shared that with the group, with the beautiful people around us, like this gorgeous man, Murray Guest, was sitting across from me. I was like, what do you need? Do you need a Visa card? I'm like, yes. I can PayPal you the money straight away. Like, you give me your email address, I PayPal you the money, and I would use your Visa card if that's okay for you. And he was like, yeah, of course, no problem. So there were like so many things that worked in our way and worked towards us, and it all worked out at the end. It all worked out. So, honestly, crazy or courageous? Stupid? Dumb? Or brave and inspiring? You decide, because it's all the same shit. For me, I know I would have regretted. I would have regretted to not go to Bali and miss that opportunity to have somebody look at our arses and spot the pattern and point it out to us so we could work through. And I'm going to talk about this pattern. I'm going to talk about this pattern in another solo conversation. Janice is saying beautiful and an incredible story. I love this kind of crazy. You see, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. The thing is, when I have this knowing in my bones, I know it's all gonna work out. And so, like, I can't believe how calm we actually were in that week. We were so focused on recreating our relationship, and we were so calm and relaxed while having all that going on in the background. It was incredible. Incredible. And I will be forever grateful to the beautiful knight in shining armor who lent me his sword so I could slay the dragon myself. In this case, the sword being the Visa card. So, shared my crazy with you. I'm now gonna drink my beautiful hot chocolate, and I already prepared the room. I'll show you. Look, my yoga mat is waiting for me and Adrian. My MacBook is standing there, and I'm gonna do the first yoga video of the beautiful new journey that is Yoga with Adrian is putting out. Dedicate it's called, and I'm so looking forward to it. That's me for today. If you want to feel alive and shift things and surrender into action and all the other things, I have received a beautiful download about a program which will start with spring. With the spring equinox, we're going to start with a full moon circle on the spring equinox, which falls together this year, which is really exciting. And I'm happy to lead you after living this life for a couple of years. About 13 now. Yeah, 13, 14. Yeah, 14 years living with my soul, letting my soul lead, and teaching about it for the last 3 years. Yes. So, if you want to join me, you're interested, either pop it into the comments and I'll send you some details, or you just wait, because I'm gonna tell everybody about it, about all the details. And then we see each other in there, or not. Then we see each other in the Solar Conversations, and the next one is happening tomorrow, which is number 60. 60 Solar Conversations. Okay. Oh, Susie, thank you so much. Okay, lovies. So, cacao it is, and then my yoga mat is waiting for me. I wish you a beautiful afternoon, evening, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. And remember, you're loved, you're guided and supported. And after this story, I hope that you trust me that the universe has your back and is always working out for you. And I don't know, I send you love, so much love and light. And I'll see you tomorrow for Solar Conversation number 60. Take care, my loves. Mwah!